Well, we're here. In light of recent events, things have changed up. Today was supposed to be the 2020 Santa Cruz Sand Crab Classic. It's a pretty famous perch derby, the biggest of its kind in Northern California. This year's tournament was canceled in light of recent events. Any social gatherings bigger than 250 people have been mandated by the state to be restricted or canceled. Social distancing, I think, is what it's called. And if there's ever a time to provide for the family and put protein in the freezer to put food on the table, I guess would be an event like this. I've got a new lure. This is a Calissa. You know what it is. It's a Lucky Craft kind of mimic, but we'll see if it works today. The holes are starting to reveal themselves at this beach. We have an outgoing tide. It's going to be at the peak low in about an hour and a half, and with that, at this beach, because it's so steep in some spots, some holes will be revealed, and I think I'll have a chance at catching some decent fish. You know, I've seen survival fishing videos in the past, but now that we're on the cusp of this nationwide pandemic, survival fishing might actually be true. Fish on. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I had a feeling about this spot. Oh yeah, stay on, baby. There we go. I had a feeling. Woo! Fish on the Calissa. Let's see what it is. Nice. Yes, sir. Woo, first red tail on the Calissa ever, maybe? Heck yeah. All right, let's weigh it up. Look at this perfect little pot of water. Keep this guy healthy. There are 3 trebles on this guy. So yeah, this fish isn't going anywhere. He's basically given up. All right, we've got ourselves a beautiful red tail. These are my absolute favorite eating perch right here. Some of the hardest fighting, some of the biggest. The ones in Oregon can get up to 20 inches plus 5 pounds. In Northern California, a lot more pressure, especially in the Bay Area, and this is about the typical size. So there is a size limit on these guys. They are pretty protected compared to your standard bards and unbards. And let's give this guy a measure from tip to tip. That's 12.5 inches. Yeah, the minimum size 10.5. So easy keeper here. Again, on this new lure, the Calissa, sent to me by the Calissa group here. This is basically like it's basically a Lucky Craft, but you know what? In throwing it, there is a different kind of shimmy to it. It does have a fatter body, and I can get a touch more casting distance. And you know, I've caught perch on both. This is, well, now both. This is the first time I've ever caught one on the Calissa. This is the Glow Sardine, same name as the Lucky Craft version. Link in the description below. There's a code down there if you want a discount on this particular color. And hey, it works. Bonk them, bleed them, bag them. I always keep a gallon bag in my pack just in case, and gonna rinse him out. He's already bled out, and keep that meat nice and fresh. Throw him in the bag, keep him in my pack. Should be good for a few hours, or at least until I get home. You can get him on ice, just like that. Beautiful red tail fillet for the family. Hard to beat these guys. Super excited. Let's get another one. Probably can't tell, but the wind and the rain are definitely picking up. But yeah, comes with the territory. I'm going to explain really quick what I'm doing here. So I caught that fish 50 yards farther out than you would be catching it at high tide. I'm essentially standing on a sandbar targeting a deeper trough. So if it was high tide around here, I'd be standing about 50 yards behind where I'm standing right now. So there's, you know, multiple holes on this beach, and you can kind of see them at different points in the tide. And with low tide, I'm having to go farther and farther out into the water. I'm standing what I think is in a decent pocket. So to cast a lure into. And so playing the odds, you know, with every cast comes a little bit more experience, and that's what I'm using to target these redtails on a pretty fishable day. Oh, fish on, good one too. Yeah, yes sir. Woo, that's a good one. Yeah, this is a good one. Fighting the current a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy is 13, 14. It could be a 15-inch barred. This fish feels good. Really good. That's the thing about these Calissas. Well, any lure that you're throwing, it's really going to weed out the little guys. And you're going to get some quality fish and you can pick one up. So, yeah, I'm seeing some color coming up. The fish is pretty much giving up. Looks like a pretty decent redtail. That's what I'm seeing. Yeah, this is a good one. This one might be 15. Yes, yes. Come here, come here. Woo. Feeling really good about this guy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, bang. Dang. That's got to be like close to 15 right there. Yes, yes. Take it. Man, Calissa doing work. That is a good one. Beautiful. Beautiful fish right there. Man, 15 at least. Let's measure it. Man, if there's ever a time to feel good about being able to provide protein for your family, it would be in times like this when store shelves are empty and you know, there's a little bit of panic going on in the country. Maybe I'm overstating things and buying into the hype a little bit, but it feels pretty good when you're able to put protein on the table for the fam. It feels good, man. It feels good. So now that I've put some time on the Calissa lure, you've seen me put some catches on it, you should know what inspired the Calissa lure, at least in my opinion. This is the original Lucky Craft 110 SP, legendary surf lure, super popular all over the West Coast. And man, this thing is a perch and striper slayer. This is the original metallic sardine. It does come in a very popular and hard to find glow sardine color. And wouldn't you know it, when the Calissa came out with their version of the 110 series surf jerkbait, they also came out with a glow sardine color too. This happens to be, in my opinion, the most popular color in the Calissa range, and it's also the most expensive. Coincidence? I think not. So is there a big difference between the Calissa and the Lucky Craft? Well, in my minimal experience casting both into the surf, there really isn't too much of a difference. The Calissa is a little bit thicker in the shoulders, it's a touch longer, and it's a tad heavier. I do have a little more success on average in being able to cast this Calissa a little farther than the Lucky Craft. If you know anything about surf fishing or have ever used a Lucky Craft, it is a little tricky at first to be able to cast that without it you know, spinning and doing cartwheels in the air. I can sidearm / underhand cast this lure a little better, and it seems to shoot out like a bullet a touch farther. Now the wobble pattern is a little different from the Lucky Craft. It does have what I call a harder shimmy. It's not as tight as the Lucky Craft. I can feel it in my rod tip when I'm retrieving both at the same retrieval speed. This has a really kind of tight shimmy, and this one has a kind of hard vibrating shimmy, and you know, that's what triggers the fish. And you know, as far as the color pattern, there's something about this color pattern in both the glow and sardine versions that seem to do really well with surf perch and stripers, or at least on the West Coast. One thing that you do notice right away, at least out of the box between the two, is that the Lucky Craft workmanship and quality is superior to the Calissa. This one is made in Japan, and you can tell the clear coat is nicer. Just everything is a little more polished. The bill is a little nicer. On the Calissa, the bill just isn't as clean. There's a little bit of plastic overmolding, and the finish in the clear coat just isn't nearly as good as the Lucky Craft. One thing I do have to say about the Lucky Craft Flash Minnow is that the terminal tackle out of the box is historically poor. The split rings and the treble hooks, even though they're saltwater rated, are pretty weak. A good sized surf perch, or God forbid, a big striper will straighten them out. So a lot of people automatically replace the terminal tackle on these things. I'll leave a list of the things that I recommend that you put on it in the description below. Out of the box, the terminal tackle and the Calissa seem to be a smidge better than the Lucky Craft. The split rings and the treble hooks seem to be on point, pun intended, and I think you'll get a little bit more longevity out of the terminal tackle on the Calissa. So why the Calissa over the Lucky Craft? Well, that's a loaded question. In my opinion, if the surf fish you're targeting are hungry, really they're going to hit anything. And, Calissa and Lucky Craft aren't the only things out in the market. You do have Jimmy Kaivo's 110 suspending jerk baits, and they're really cheap. They're only like $6.99. You can find these for super cheap on eBay. Lunker hunt, you can go the bass route. If you target bass with jerk baits, you can always repurpose a freshwater jerk bait and throw it out in the surf, and you can get these for a lot cheaper than your Lucky Craft and Calissa jerk baits. You can even go to your local BPS, Bass Pro Shop, go into the $1 to $2 bins and find some decent jerk baits that would work too. And you can go big. You can go with a Joe Bags Shorter minnow that actually acts kind of like a popper slash jerk bait. It's a lot bigger than the Lucky Craft, and the Calissa has a even bigger erratic pattern and comes with better stock hooks. These are actually VMCs, and this color here is half the price of the Calissa and the Lucky Craft. But speaking from experience, if you're targeting surf perch and want a chance at a decent sized striper, if you want to cover the gamut, there's really nothing that can beat the performance and history and proven track record of the Lucky Craft. But if you want something that might cast a little further, have a different erratic pattern, and cost a smidge less than the Lucky Craft, but still give you Lucky Craft results, then hey, you might want to try the Calissa. That's really up to you. If you want to give the Calissa glow sardine a shot, and if you like what you've seen and want to patronize my channel, head over to Calissa's website and use code ishwithfish for 10% off the glow sardine color, and maybe you'll catch a PB too. Links in the description below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.